The illusion of control is one of the most powerful and subtle forces shaping human behavior. It is the deep, often unconscious belief that we can influence outcomes far beyond our actual ability. It creeps into the way we make choices, how we handle uncertainty, and how we interpret success and failure. On the surface, control feels like security. It feels like safety. It feels like mastery over life. But beneath that comfort lies fragility, because the belief that we truly control more than we do sets us up for frustration, anxiety, and disillusionment. When reality refuses to obey our will, to understand the illusion of control is to peel back a layer of the human psyche, exposing both our vulnerability and our resilience. It is a paradox that drives ambition, while simultaneously trapping us in cycles of disappointment. From the beginning of civilization, humans have sought control over their environment. Fire was tamed to keep away darkness and cold. Agriculture was invented to reduce dependence on unpredictable hunting. Structures were built to protect from storms, predators, and floods. At every stage, mastery over the environment brought with it a sense of empowerment, but this drive for control also fostered the illusion that the unpredictable could always be subdued. People began to believe not only that they could harness certain forces, but that they could dominate reality itself. This is where the illusion takes root when control shifts from a tool of survival to a belief in omnipotence. Consider the gambler at a casino, gripping dice tightly before throwing them across the table. They blow on the dice, shake them with intensity, and release them with ritual. Rationally, we know that dice are governed by probability, not by the way they are tossed. Yet countless players behave as if they can somehow manipulate randomness with sheer willpower. Psychologists call this the illusion of control. It is the same phenomenon when a person presses an elevator button repeatedly, as though it will make the lift arrive faster, or when we refresh a web page again and again, believing our impatience can speed up technology. These are small acts, but they reveal a deeper cognitive bias. Our brains are wired to assume influence where there is none. This bias can be traced to evolution. For early humans, assuming control where none existed was often safer than assuming helplessness. If a hunter believed that a ritual dance increased the chances of a successful hunt, the belief itself could provide confidence, cohesion, and persistence, even if the ritual had no causal power. Those who acted as though they had control may have survived more often than those who passively surrendered to chance. In this way, the illusion of control became embedded in our psychology, not as a flaw but as an adaptive feature. It gave hope in the face of chaos, even if it distorted reality. But in the modern world, this bias can work against us. The illusion of control leads to overconfidence in business, politics, and personal relationships. Leaders believe they can shape markets, voters, or destinies by sheer force of will, ignoring the countless variables beyond their grasp. Investors convince themselves that careful analysis ensures profit, only to be undone by global crises, accidents, or unpredictable shifts in human behavior. In personal life, we believe we can shape the feelings and choices of others, only to find that love, friendship, and loyalty are not subject to total control. The more we cling to the illusion, the greater the pain when reality reminds us of our limits. And yet, the paradox is this: without the illusion of control, much of human progress would stall. To attempt the impossible requires at least some belief that we can bend the odds. Entrepreneurs who risk everything, explorers who cross oceans, and scientists who challenge existing knowledge are all fueled by a sense of agency that often exceeds reality. The illusion motivates effort, and effort sometimes does shape outcomes. Even if total control is unattainable, the perception of influence can drive actions that increase the probability of success. Thus, the illusion is both a trap and a tool, a deception and a source of empowerment. The danger lies in mistaking influence for certainty. Life is a balance between factors we can control and those we cannot. We control our decisions, our discipline, our preparation, but we cannot control time, chance, or the actions of others. The illusion of control collapses when we demand certainty where only probability exists. This collapse can lead to despair, anxiety, and even a sense of meaninglessness. To navigate life wisely, we must learn to recognize the boundary between influence and control, between what is ours to shape and what is beyond reach. The philosopher Epictetus once taught that happiness comes from focusing only on what lies within our control and letting go of the rest. This echoes across centuries in the form of Stoicism, mindfulness, and modern psychology. Yet even as we intellectually understand this principle, emotionally we resist it. Letting go of control feels like vulnerability, it feels like surrender, but in reality, it is a form of liberation. To accept the limits of control is not to give up but to live more harmoniously with uncertainty. The illusion of control is also deeply tied to ego. When things go well, we attribute success to our skill, intelligence, and effort. When things go poorly, we often blame bad luck or external factors. This self-serving bias reinforces the illusion because it convinces us that we are the primary authors of outcomes. It blinds us to randomness and the interconnectedness of events. To break free, we must confront the discomfort of humility, the realization that our lives are not fully defavored, that chance plays a larger role than we like to admit. Yet humility does not mean passivity. Recognizing the illusion of control is not a call to fatalism. Instead, it is a call to strategic living. It means focusing intensely on the small sphere of influence we truly possess: our thoughts, choices, and actions, while letting go of obsession with outcomes. It means pursuing goals with determination but accepting that results are shaped by forces beyond us. It means finding peace in uncertainty, even as we strive for excellence. The illusion of control also manifests in relationships. People often believe they can change others, reshape their behavior, personality, or desires through enough love, persuasion, or pressure. While influence is real, total control over another person's inner world is impossible. Attempts to impose such control often backfire, breeding resistance, resentment, and conflict. True connection arises not from controlling others, but from respecting their autonomy while choosing how we ourselves will engage. In the broader world, societies also fall into the illusion of control. Governments believe they can predict and manage economies, but financial crises erupt despite sophisticated models. Military leaders believe they can control the outcomes of wars, only to face chaos, resistance, and unintended consequences. Corporations believe they can predict consumer behavior, only to watch trends shift overnight. The belief in total control leads to overreach, arrogance, and collapse. History is filled with examples of empires, leaders, and institutions undone by the illusion that they could dominate reality without limits. Yet awareness of this illusion can be transformative. By understanding our tendency to overestimate control, we can cultivate resilience. We can prepare without expecting perfection. We can act decisively while accepting uncertainty. We can plan while remaining flexible. In this way, life becomes less about conquering chaos and more about dancing with it. The illusion of control may never fully leave us. It is too deeply rooted in human psychology, but we can learn to navigate it with wisdom. At its core, the illusion of control is a mirror. It reflects our longing for certainty in an uncertain world. It reveals our fear of randomness, our desire for safety, our hunger for power, but it also reflects our creativity, our persistence, and our courage to act in the face of the unknown. Without the illusion, perhaps we would be paralyzed by fear. With it, we sometimes reach too far. The challenge is not to destroy the illusion entirely, but to hold it lightly, aware of both its power and its limits. The path forward lies in cultivating awareness. When you find yourself gripped by the need to control every outcome, pause. Ask yourself what truly lies within your influence and what does not. Invest energy in the former, release the latter. Recognize that unpredictability is not always an enemy. Sometimes, the unexpected brings opportunities greater than anything we could have planned. Sometimes, surrendering control opens doors that control itself would have kept locked. Life is not a machine to be mastered, but a flow to be engaged. The illusion of control tempts us to believe we are engineers of destiny, but perhaps we are more like navigators, steering our vessel through shifting currents, adjusting our sails, responding to winds we cannot command. Mastery lies not in domination but in adaptability, not in certainty but in presence. The illusion of control is both a shadow and a light. It blinds us, but it also drives us. To see through it is to gain perspective, to embrace the paradox that we are both powerful and powerless, agents of change and subjects of chance. To live fully is not to cling to control but to engage with life's unpredictability with courage, humility, and grace. And as you reflect on this, remember, you cannot control everything, but you can control how you respond. That small truth is the key to resilience, wisdom, and peace. Hold it close, for in the end, control is not about dominating the world, it is about mastering yourself.